you're not happy. And you're not happy because you are spending so much time and so much energy worried about what everyone else thinks and what everyone else wants. You are living for everyone else and you're not living for yourself. You're living for your family and your spouse and your friends. You care about what your coworkers and the people in your hometown think of you. Hell, you care about what your second cousin's ex-husband, what they think of you. And in all of this, we're missing the most important point. What do you think of you? What do you really want? And I know that you have a big dream, you have a big goal, you have something within you that's driving you forward. And I know that you feel it here in your heart. You know that you are built for more. But as long as you are busy living for everyone else, they will pat you on the back. They're going to say, you're awesome, you're amazing, you're doing a great job. You have the job, or you have the life, or you have all the things that you ever wanted. But deep down inside, something feels off for you. Like you're not happy, you're not satisfied. You start to question, is this it? And everyone else is busy patting you on the back because guess what? You are living their version of your life. You are living the life they want you to live, not necessarily the life you want to live. And so things are okay. Things are okay. They're so-so. They're good. Who am I to complain? Oh, but deep down, you know that you are built for greatness. You know you are built for more. And you know that their version of your life is not enough for you. But you also know that as soon as you start to challenge that, as soon as you start to ask for more, as soon as you start to step out, as soon as you start to live a version of life that maybe your friends and maybe your family and maybe the hometown and maybe the 800 people on Facebook start to question and aren't quite sure about, because on the outside, everything looks perfect. And so you know that you want something different. Ooh, as soon as that happens, guess what's going to happen? Pain, friction, suffering. And so you live the vanilla so-so life for the rest of your life, or you face the hard thing, because guess what? There is another way. You want to talk about somebody who's had to live their entire life for other people? You think your family is bad? Hey, how about these people? Right there, right? Of course, for the audio listeners, I am pointing to a photo of the ex-Prince Harry and his wife, Meghan. I don't even know what to call these people because technically he got disowned. He got kicked out of the royal family. And of course, they're making the news these days because the first few episodes of the Netflix documentary drop. And then just a few days ago, the new episodes, and everyone is freaking out. But here's the story that they seem to be missing. Here is a boy, right? Like honestly, like Prince Harry, right? Okay, great. He's a prince. He's a prince, like not even a metaphorical prince. He's an actual prince in the actual royal family. And not only did he have to go up against his family, he had to go up against one of the longest lasting institutions in the world. And we're talking about the British monarchy. When he decides that he wants to leave the royal family, when he decides that he wants to step out of the spotlight, that he doesn't want all the press, he wants to just be a family man with his wife and go off and live, I'm not going to say a normal life, but he just doesn't want to deal with that stuff anymore. He has to make a choice. He has to choose. Is he going to live for his grandma, who happens to be the queen? Is he going to live for his dad, who happens to be today's king? Is he going to live for the servants and the advisors and everyone else? Or is he going to live for him? Is he going to live for himself? Is he going to live for his wife? Is he going to live for his kids? Is he going to live the life that he wants to live and turn his back on everything that he's been promised and everything that people have been counting on him to do? Is he going to turn his back on that and say, no, you know what? This is my life. I am going to go ahead and do this for me. And this is the story that people aren't talking about. You know, yes, this new Netflix documentary series has some pretty sizzling moments. You know, there's groundbreaking things like the fact that Meghan Markle admits that she first bowed to the Queen and she was barefoot meeting Kate Middleton. Wow, that's shocking, right? Sizzling there. Or maybe the fact that Harry describes his relationship with Meghan Markle as a great love story, right? Like these are the things making headlines. But the fact that, you know, the series has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 50% with critics and only 12% with audiences means that it maybe isn't the greatest series in the world, but that's not the story. The story for you, the story for me, the lesson here we can all learn is, you know, like if you grew up in a family where your parents had expectations of you, where you were expected to go to school, you were expected to have a certain job, you were expected to live a certain way. So that way, you know, you don't embarrass the family. I grew up in a construction family and I wanted to become an architect and an engineer. And that was something that everyone in my construction family, it made sense, right? Like we're builders. And Mark, you want to go into the family business and you want to be a builder. And I did. And I still regret the fact that I didn't do that to a certain degree. But the moment that I decided not to go right down the path towards engineering and architecture. And I decided to go left a totally different way and go to film school. My grandmother was not very happy with me. She told me that I was young enough that when I fail, I could go out and get a real job. Now, I know that she was worried about me. I know that she was looking at film and this is in like 2001, 2002, pre-internet, pre all of that stuff, with video and everything. And she's looking at like film and going like, you want to go make films? You want to go to LA? Like, it confused people. And I was like, no, I want to be an editor and I want to be a storyteller and I want to learn this stuff. And maybe I was ahead of the curve, but all of their concerns, all of my grandparents' concerns and all of my family's concerns and everyone who looked at me and went, what? You go to film school? That doesn't make any sense to me. It was all because, one, they couldn't see what I saw. They weren't interested in what I was interested in. They couldn't imagine themselves making the same decisions. And if they loved me at all, they were afraid that I was maybe picking something flighty or silly or something that would just be a passing fad. But the truth is that I had thought long and hard about this, and it was something I was interested in. And it was maybe not something they can see themselves doing, but something I could see myself doing. And I knew to a certain degree that if I learned these skills, that no one could ever take it away from me. Maybe I would go do something else down the line somewhere else. So I made the decision to not listen to my family, and it was hard as hell. Now, back to Harry and Meghan Markle. They decide that they're going to get married. Ooh, they decide that they're going to go off and leave the press. They decide he's going to literally step back from the royal family. Now, we might say, well, that's easy for him to say because he's rich and wealthy and all of these things. But think about it. Put yourself in his shoes. What this means, when the queen passes away and there's the funeral procession, he cannot walk with his family because he's no longer technically a part of that family. He's been cast aside. He made the decision. It was a hard decision, but he's literally now 100% the black sheep of the family. Now, you know anything about the royal family, you might be thinking, isn't Prince Andrew the black sheep of the family? We're not even going to touch that because that guy got messed up with some really weird people. But the point is that this new Netflix series reveals a little bit of the hard decisions they've had to make. And yes, were they hard decisions? I'm sure it was a hard decision. Did it take a sacrifice? It 100% took a sacrifice. But where was it promised to you or to me or to us that we could get all of these awesome things that we want without having to do the hard work, the hard decisions, or make sacrifices? At what point did we all agree that we were going to live a vanilla, so comfortable life that doesn't rock the boat, that doesn't piss anyone off, that keeps our family happy, and somehow we're going to get all the things that fire us up, that drive us, that light us up? Of course, we know that that's ridiculous. Right? Like I got 4 kids, and when my kids come to me and they say, hey, I really want, my son, I really want Grand Theft Auto 5. And my wife and I go, I'm not sure about that. And here's all the reasons why. And here's what we're thinking. Then you can go ahead and have this. Him getting what he wants will come at a sacrifice. You getting what you want will come at a sacrifice. And here is the really uncomfortable truth. If you are not willing to make the sacrifices for yourself, no one else is going to. And worse than that, I think it proves that you value and love and respect everyone else more than you do yourself. I'm going to say that one more time. If you put everyone else above yourself all of the time, I believe it's because you value and respect and love everyone else more than yourself. And when I came to that realization for myself, it was really painful truth, because we're supposed to love ourselves. Like, I am all I've got and you are all you've got. Yes, I have my spouse and I have my kids and I have my family and I have my friends and my coworkers and all of these things. But when I'm all alone, I'm only there with me. And if I'm not willing to put myself first, I think a lot of us wait for everyone else to put us first, but we know that's not going to happen. And ultimately, despite all of the gossip, all of the behind the scenes stuff, everything that's happening in the royal family and the tabloids and all the blah, 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 none of that stuff matters. What I take from this and what really matters is that Harry and Meghan value themselves and their family and the life they want to build and the life they want to live more than everyone else. They had to give up a lot of the little perks maybe that we see as perks, but they probably see as chains and a cage that they had to live within. The lesson here is they love themselves. They value themselves, and they're willing to do the hard thing to put themselves first. And as soon as you step into this place in your life, it will upset some people. It'll ruffle some feathers. You'll be accused of being selfish, self-centered, and narcissistic. You'll be accused of being maybe a bad parent or a bad spouse. It'll force some uncomfortable truths and conversations in your life. And it'll come at some sacrifices, maybe financially, maybe time-wise. Maybe it'll set you back and slow you down. But doesn't it make sense to spend the next 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years living the life that you want to live rather than spend all of that time in so-so land, living an okay life that feels a little off while everyone else around you tells you that you've got it all. And yet you go to bed each night, you lay your head down on the pillow, and you think, I'm all alone, it's just me. Is this it? I know you don't want to risk the so-so, the vanilla, the okay to get greatness. But here's one thing I can promise you. To get greatness, to achieve your full potential, to hit that next level that you know deep down inside you're capable of, you have to risk the so-so. You have to risk the okay. And on the other side of this slightly uncomfortable, sacrifice, you will be so proud of who you are. You will be so proud of who you're becoming. You'll look back and be so proud and even question, like, how could I have lived that way? Because now when you step into the life you are built to live, when you start to step forward and work towards the goals that you have and face the challenges that are in front of you, first, the people around you, they'll become haters, and then they'll become doubters, and then you will prove yourself right and them wrong. And the really big ones, the ones who can set their ego aside and can set their hate and maybe even their jealousy aside, they'll come back to you a few years later and they'll say, hey, when you did this thing, I was worried for you. I was scared for you. I didn't think you could do it. I didn't believe in you. But my God, I'm proud of what you've done. You will have proven yourself right. But that only comes when you are willing to live for you and not for them.